Hey, what's up, WCR This is Orange doing not a live audio today. Reason being is because I just haven't played ladder in a while. So I've been doing other stuff, which requires not being on Warcraft 3. So I don't actually have enough time to do. Well, I do, but I don't. Usually the live audio takes a couple attempts. I do the one game, which is the warm-up game, and then the next game I actually do the commentary thing, and sometimes that fails too. But yeah, so today I'm doing an actual commentary, so pause the replay at the 45-second mark. And the map is in the zip file, so that's findable. Just throw it in the maps folder. It was for some tournament that was held. BoXs was holding it. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say to that other than he sort of requested that someone do an audio on one of the replays and sort of promote the map and the tournament and stuff, and I thought, hey, if there's a cool replay, maybe I'll do it. And there was a cool replay, so I'm doing it. So there's the explanation to that. Today is Night Elf against Human, and this will sort of highlight a semi-unusual strategy. You'll probably see it more on ladder than you will at the pro level. I'll mention the differences, but you guys should have it paused at the 45-second mark, 1x speed. I'm putting it under Rig's point of view, but you can put it under either one, because I'm going to be talking about a little bit of what each player's doing, just to benefit everyone, and because it's always good to know what the other player's thinking and stuff. And since I've played both sides of this matchup lots of times, yeah, that thought died on exit. So let's unpause. 45-second mark, 1x speed, in 3, 2, 1, unpause. You will also note that I don't have my awesome microphone. Reason being is because my mouse died. It died. The batteries didn't. Well, the batteries died too, but I haven't been able to fix my mouse. So I can't actually hold a microphone and use my touchpad to navigate. So I'm down to using the crap microphone that's built into my laptop. Anyways, you'll notice that Rigged is doing an altar build, and he's also going to be AOW creeping this camp. AOW creeping is always important, and there's some easy ways to do AOW creeping and some easy tricks. And he unfortunately doesn't use one of the easy tricks to actually get the focus on the AOW as opposed to the rest of your stuff. So this is one of the many tavern builds that you can use. I use a different one. Most of my builds are actually different than most people's, so I guess I could say I use a different build for almost everything. And it really wouldn't make much of a difference. So the footy's chasing around the Scout Wisp, no big deal there. The good thing about a tavern here is you can actually prevent the Scout farm from being done. If you notice at the bottom left, the Wisp actually got the footy to get owned by creeps, which sucks. So if you're chasing footies, beware of that. Also, make sure you kill the peasant. If you look at the top, he hasn't actually quite killed the peasant, so he can actually still build stuff. And actually, a neat move there. He spammed rally points, so that way the AOW didn't get the last hit, and he actually got the experience for it. So the AOW creeping trick, no, that wasn't it. You actually have to attack the creeps first. And then what you do is you don't eat the tree first, you actually attack the ogre warriors first. And you generally want to attack the first one that comes out before you eat the tree. That way you don't have to waste any moon juice. Although it's going to waste 20 points of moon juice, so it's no biggie. I also don't know a lot about this map. I'm not sure who made it. I think BoXs made it. But I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. As far as item drops go, Circle is probably your best bet for Panda. Gloves of Haste doesn't really do much. Ring of Protection doesn't do a huge amount. And Claws of Attack doesn't do as much, so you're better off with the Circlet. I mean, you can't really get the item drops you want all the time, but, you know, knowing which items to keep is a huge thing. And the reason you keep the Circlet is because of the increased hit points, which is always good because the panda is easily nukeable, so you want those extra hit points. And armor doesn't affect the amount of damage that a nuke like Stormbolt will do, so extra hit points is always nice, plus you get the extra mana for Breaths of Fire. You will notice the human's doing a fast expo. He did wake the creeps and sort of drag them in, but you're creeping with militia, so it doesn't really make a huge difference. The only huge thing to note is the fact that he hasn't actually crept to level 3. Creeping to level 3 is important, and you generally want to get level 3 by the time you actually hit, by the time you finish creeping the expo. So knowing the map is a huge thing, but on a new map such as this, it's hard to actually figure out creep patterns unless you fiddle with it a lot. Now, one other thing to point out is the human hasn't picked up Dust yet, which is a huge, it's a huge factor in this matchup, especially early game, because early game what you want to do is you actually want to prevent A, the panda from getting level 3, so killing archers helps, and B, you want to prevent your expo from being taken down, which, killing archers helps. He has called militia to the center. He's not going to buy Dust, which is unfortunate, because it would actually get him a couple archer kills here. And I don't believe he gets any. No, he doesn't. I've only watched this replay once. Oh, he got one. He used the lab. There's a lab. Bottom. Just below the expo. Sorry, I'm having to point these things out in a different manner than usual. The elf player has also reached tier 2, and what he's going to do with tier 2 is he's going to pick up a tavern here, and he's going to go hunt some dryads. Big, huge surprise there. But as far as strategies go, what he's going to do is he's actually going to harass the expansion at this point. And the one thing you will notice about the human expansion, and this is actually one of the reasons I'm doing this replay, some micro issues with the archers, but who cares, let's look at the expo. What you will notice is that there is no real base build to the expo. Like, he's chopping away trees that will allow another entrance to his expo, which is bad. He should be chopping the trees down at the bottom. And then you will notice that he hasn't really made any choke points. He hasn't really made any way to prevent a hero from actually getting to the gold mine peasants. Oh yeah, Panda hits level 3. That's one thing that you don't want to do as human. And with human against elf, there's a lot of really small technicalities that a lot of pro players will put into place. Like, they'll only get a certain number of footies against certain hero builds. So, for instance, a warden, they'll get a different amount of footies, and it's usually a set amount of footies per map. So if you really want to learn them, actually load up the maps that you want to do and do, like, a case study. But I'm too lazy to do that, I just wing it. And here's where the base build comes into play. I mean, first thing you can take out is the towers. Generally, you actually want to prevent any melee heroes from actually getting there in the first place. So if you do watch a higher level replay, you'll notice that they'll put the shop in front of their towers along with a farm. So that's going to play a huge factor. Also, the fact that he didn't get any masonry upgrades. And they're pretty cheap at tier 1, so that's a very important thing to have. Also, against a panda first, one thing that a lot of people don't do is they don't get a lot of arcane towers, which is a mistake. You'll notice he did get one, which is good, but one usually doesn't cut it. And you'll sort of notice this here. Yeah, so basically the build placement sort of lost him those 2 towers and all of those peasants. Well, not all of those peasants, I mean some of them were inevitably going to die, but if you can actually prevent them from getting near there without losing, and forcing them to lose a bunch of mana, is a huge important thing to do. So, Pit Lord's almost level 2, which means cleave, which doesn't mean a huge amount. The only time you actually want to get Howl of Terror with a Pit Lord is if they're